picked the wrong weekend to do roof rack and vent.
Yesterday was so frustrating. We were trying to install the roof rack, the Rhino Roof Rack, so we could then work out exactly where the roof vent needed to go, the window, Fiamma vent. So we put the roof rack up, which in itself was a bit of a challenge. For various reasons. The poles were overlapping. We couldn't work out why. We had to move the brackets after we put them into the roof. We had to cover up some of the holes that were in the roof, and then we also had to make some holes that weren't in the roof. We've just made some improvised little rubber plugs from leftover washers, and we're putting some Sikaflex over the holes and around it, and then we're just going to put the rubber plug on top to block the holes up. We've just put the brackets on, and as you can see down there, it's a modular roof rack which should hopefully make it easier to lift up onto the roof, but we shall see.
Next we've got to lift the roof rack on. Yay! Hope that vent's not in the way, otherwise that's going to slow us down.
We got the roof rack up absolutely fine, but we realised that that vent wasn't going to fit under the roof rack at all, and we did suspect that, so we ordered another one which is much thinner than the one that was originally on the van. Then it started pouring, absolutely pouring, but obviously we'd taken off the roof vent so that we could put the roof bars on. The vent we tried to cover with a bit like a sandwich bag, just a piece of plastic and some gaffer tape just to cover it over, but it was already too wet and it just wouldn't stick. It was probably one of the worst nights weather we've had for a long time, and we're in the middle of Storm Alex. I don't know if you can actually see that from here, but it's raining very heavily outside. So today our aim is just to try and cover up the holes, maybe work out if the window fits. Joe's down in the garage now trying to cut some metal out to at least cover the hole where the vent was, and dry up the big pools of water that I imagine are now in the van after last night's storm. So we'll see.
This was our masterpiece of a temporary fix. Our bit of a plastic seal.
Joe covered it up with pretty much a sandwich bag and some gaffer tape.
This didn't quite dry in time. We tried to cover it up, and then we pushed the sealant out by mistake. So then we patched it up from the bottom, but it was so damp the tape wasn't sticking. And it is running out from the tape down all the way down. We're missing the bucket, but there's a handy hole there. There was a massive old vent here, which we've got a new one for, which may fit under there, but it's been too wet to install it. 3 centimetres in it.
You realise the vent doesn't quite go under the roof bar.
It's not that far out, and this one's bigger, the gap's bigger. There.
We've also got the old fan thing
Stuck in there.
that's still in there, which is giving us less room to work with,
It's
which
too
will obviously come out.
Yeah, it's too wet to take out at the moment. I'm optimistic. So today, reasonably dry, hopefully. As you can see, the main objective for today is to cut out and fit a new vent on the roof. This is the old housing. Take this out with the heat gun, and then got a metal hole saw, cut that out. Yeah, and then hopefully I'll be able to get the new Dometic underneath the roof bar. We've measured it, it looks tight, but we think we might be able to do it. Yeah, let's give it a whirl. Turns out I didn't need a heat gun. I was just able to loosely prise it off. That saved me. I thought that was going to take a while. It took 15 seconds. Pretty handy. Sorry? Hopping around.
Screw that on there so that stops it and holds that in place.
So Dad helped me drill the hole because one person to drill from the top, so I had to hold the batten and stuff down because there was no pilot hole, so we had to drill it. It fits. Just going to clean the hole up and then to loosen off the roof rack, unfortunately, to get him initially in. Just use some of the bonding primer to paint around the hole after sanding it down and cleaning it all up. Yeah, it's the same stuff we used to bond the windows, or prime before we bonded the windows. It's Unibond stuff, and I did that because it will give a nice surface to, hopefully anyway, give a nice surface to seal to, and it dries really fast. The Dometic vent is in. So you can see it fits just underneath. Took a bit of customising at the front or at the side here to fit it in the ridge, but yeah, pretty happy with it. After some faffing around, loads of silicone under there, it's not coming out. Yeah, so now we had that massive vent that didn't fit to no vent during the wettest weekend of the year, but it held, and now we've got a proper vent. Today, as it's the nicest day we've had in ages, and we didn't get to fit it at the weekend, we are, or I am, because Fiona has to work and I've managed to wrangle my hours so I can work evenings, gonna fit the Fiamma Turbo Vent, all marked up, fits in between the roof rack and with the hatch open, so we know it opens. Easily going to be able to cut along these lines. Not sure how I'm going to get the jigsaw along that line with the roof rack in the way, but we'll try. Got my tape down to catch some of the shavings. Before we get started on installing the vent, let's just talk through it a little bit. Haven't seen so many videos about this that go through the whole process, so I'll just capture it in case it's helpful for anyone else out there. Fingers crossed it works. But we've got the Fiamma Turbo Vent, the 28cm one. Nearly said inches, definitely not 28 inches. Ours came in two packs. We had to make the turbo fan, so we had to make it fit. Take it out of the box. You have to cut out, I don't know if you can see that, one of these plastic arms to make it fit. And so ours came with two base units in the end, one without the electronics and one with, which is quite handy because then I could use one to make the frame. You will need a frame. So it pinches in between and then you screw it in. So you cut the hole somewhere there. Then you glue up your frame with some sticker flex. And you leave it to dry and clamp it, and then you seal it all up and you screw in the base unit and it pinches it, pinches it together, so you're holding it down in place to a frame that's stuck to the van. That's the theory anyway. So yeah, gonna get going. First of all, got to drill the pilot holes in from the top so we can get the jigsaw in there. As I showed, it's marked out already. So yeah, gonna get going. I'll put the time lapse on up top and see how it goes. Put a bit of plastic underneath just to catch any of the metal. Oh, there's a hole there. Cover that up. Recycled, let's say, or upcycled from the roof rack packaging. which will work fine, providing I can cut it all from the top. If I have to cut some from the bottom, gonna have to rethink it. Time-lapse camera died, so quick check-in. As you can see, I had to take the front of the roof rack off. Couldn't get the jigsaw in. Only could just get it past that. I mean, it's not the absolute best cut ever. Might have to go over it. But 3 down, 1 to go. This paper catching the swath is a really good idea. They should catch it. Not stuck on the flapping bit, but it just jams it there, stops it falling down, scratching anything in here. Success! I don't think it's fairly straight. I don't think it'll be the straightest one you've ever seen, but it's not bad. Time to tidy up the edge. I was just about to have a little hoover up, but I wanted to show how well putting this tape on here works, how much metal it catches. Put the roof rack back on, cleaned around the hole. Now the fact that you can put the roof rack back on, or the fact that I did put the roof rack on by myself, shows that it can be done. However, not highly recommended, especially when you've just cut a hole in your roof and if it gets a bit gusty. Definitely have a friend help you with that. Not a good idea. Just like the other vent from yesterday, putting some more of that glass pre-bond primer stuff around the edge. Just gives something a really nice, gives it a really nice seal. Some underneath as well to help the Sikaflex stick the frame, there he is, to the underneath. Almost a moment of truth. Put the frame on, clamped it 2 sides, and then stolen some of Dad's roof battening supports, let's call them that. It was the right place when I went up the roof and took the vent out. Hopefully it's still the right place when it dries. About to put it on, put a nice thick bead around of Sikaflex 522. Seems to be the one everyone recommends. All the way around, put the turbo in, had a double check it still fits, especially when it's a bit thick here because all the water will run down that way. Gonna try and offer it up. It's in! Finally! Here's the view from underneath. Couldn't line it up, couldn't line the base up very easily, so I used the one without the turbo electronics in, just so we could tighten it and get it pulled in from the bottom so it sits properly. And then I change the base to it. Might have to just carve out a little bit of the frame for the wires, but otherwise it's in. I'm pretty confident it won't leak, but we'll see next time it rains. Took a bit longer than I thought. It took most of the day. It's about 4 o'clock now and started about 9, so it did take a lot part of the day, but I wasn't expecting to have to take the roof rack off and put it back on again. And finished it off with a bit of black silicone around the edge, just because I think it looks nicer with the dark van. Looks like it's sitting alright. Fingers crossed it won't leak.
In our next video, we're going to be taking you through how we built the bulkhead, so please feel free to like and subscribe so when that's released, you'll be notified.